Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome to Cardiff City World. It's Sunday night. Welcome to the breakdown. No game to break down, really, because we did the breakfast breakdown talking about the FA Cup. So it's a bit of a free-for-all. We're going to have a few different topics to discuss. As always, we'll get involved in the comments and have a chat and that. It looked like we were going to get a sign-in. That fell through. So no sign-ins in at the moment, which is a bit worrying. I'll be more concerned if we don't get someone in before the Watford game. I'm going to be a little bit concerned, but not. It's not. It takes time. These things take time. I also think that one of the problems that we have is that we're under the Welsh FA and the two FAs having to ratify these deals, and it just makes it more difficult or time-consuming to get the deals done. But on the other hand, at the end of the day, if the board and Vincent Han want Cardiff City to stay up, they have to bring in some players because it's very clear to everyone and every man and their dog that we need a striker. And we need that striker to stay up. Without signing a striker, I'm more concerned about us staying up. It seems like there's a bit of an issue sending Kanga back because his Hertha Berlin don't want him back. We've got an agreement for the season, so unless he's got somewhere else to go and we pay a little bit to send him back, it doesn't look like it's going to happen at the moment. I'm sure they will work something out. What we should do is send him to bloody Kortrijk. That would make the most sense, surely. I know there was some interest from some Belgian clubs with him, but he's not going to play for Cardiff. Like the fact he wasn't even in the squad for the FA Cup game, he's not going to be playing for us. And I thought, Atete looked all right, a bit rusty, but he offers more than Kanga. And then equally, I thought Luke Pearce did a real good job coming off the bench. I thought his pace and his energy looked good. So I would probably give him a chance ahead of Kanga, particularly with, it looks like Reindorf's going to go out on loan. Joel Colwill come back briefly, but he's gone to Exeter, which is going to be interesting. If he can... It's difficult going in for half a season, I think, and switching clubs midway through the season for him. But he was doing so well for Cheltenham. If he can replicate that form and the output in League One, then he's well and truly going to be ready to step into the first team for us in the summer, which is, of course, the plan. They've got a clear development plan for him. I know that the plan all along has been for him to join the first team next year, but they wanted him to be playing regularly. But it's obviously a risk. At Cheltenham, he was one of their main players, first name on the team sheet. Will he be that at Exeter? Will he, we'll probably have to work his way into the team because they're mid-season, unless they've got some injuries and stuff where he finds that there's a slot for him. He might be on the bench for the first few games. Might have to work his way in. Didn't have to do that at Cheltenham. He was already established. So remains to be seen whether it's the best decision. I understand the logic to it, but there's a little bit of apprehension from me, I got to say, that he ends up just sitting on the bench all season. Like Raheem Conte didn't get a lot of game time on his loan. He did play, I think, 13 games or something in the end, or 13 appearances. But he's come back. And what's interesting about Raheem Conte coming back is that there was reports last week that we're looking for right backs. Well, I think myself and others said at the start of the season that we did not understand, sending him on loan because he had looked so composed and so he just looked ready. He looked ready. He looked part of the team. He did well defensively, did well on the ball. Why did we send him on loan? Everyone said, including me. He's a utility player as well, and I think those players are vital to a squad, having players on the bench who can play, in the wing, in the midfield, in a fullback position, as a wing back particularly. So I wonder if we've recalled him to give us a bit of competition at right back, or have we recalled him because we're going to send him out on loan somewhere else? Who knows? Because I don't think you can ever quite tell with this board, because there's not anyone obvious who's making those kind of football type decisions. I know, obviously, the manager of the under-21s will have input on their development plans. I would imagine Darren Pearce has got a big input on their development plans. It feels like with Joel Colwill that they've got a very, very clear plan on preparing him for the first team. You know, like we've heard for so long how talented he is and how he could be better than Ruben and this and that. But you've got to get him ready, and you've got to make sure that he's able to hit the ground running. So it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one because my only worry is that because it all depends on who they've got in their midfield. If they've got a settled midfield, will he end up just being a bench player? And then does he get as much out of that as he did playing week in, week out for Cheltenham? He also played a range of positions for Cheltenham. He played in the 10, played as a 6, played as a right winger, played as a number 8. I think number 8 was where he really got the most success, which is encouraging for us. But yeah, it's a bit. There's a bit of apprehension there, shall we say, from me. But yeah, I'm all right. At least it feels like they've got a plan for him. And one of my biggest criticisms of Cardiff City Football Club is that we lack planning, long term or short term. But it feels like in Joel Colwell's case, that we have a very kind of set plan. It feels like that, doesn't it? But you know, maybe we're doing that like we do everything else. But a seat of our pants on a day-to-day basis. Of course, welcome to all the new members, Martin Davis and a couple of others. Welcome to you all. As I say many times, if you could become a member, please do. There's additional content on there for you, but most importantly, that's what allows us to. The members is what allows us to keep taking the channel forward. Allows us to produce content 7 days a week. Keeps the lights on, as they say. But yeah, massively appreciative to everyone who's joined up. It's whether you've done it through the YouTube channel, which I just popped the link in the chat for, or if you do it through Patreon, massively appreciated. We'll have the second episode of the Rumour Mill podcast on Tuesday, which will be for members only, where I discuss like all the different things that I've heard from different people, whether it's from the club, from the media, from bits and pieces. We kind of go into that. There's a bit of a story regarding there was over 48 hours ago now. It seemed like we had a loan coming in and it was all kind of done and dusted, and then that changed. There's a bit of story to that and whatnot, but yes, it's frustrating at the moment. I mean, I've got to say, I don't think that Ricky J. Jones will come to us in January. I don't. There's a number of reasons for that. I kind of touched on it last week on the Rumour Mill, but effectively, he's out of contract in the summer. I think he told us initially that he'd rather come in the summer if he was to come to us. But Peterborough want rid of him because he's out of contract and he's turned down, I think, 2 or 3 contracts. He's exactly what we need. He's a central striker with absolutely ridiculous pace, and he scores goals. He can also play wide if need be, or in the 10. He's versatile, he's strong, he's young. It feels like the right type of signing, the right person, etc. But Peterborough are notoriously difficult to negotiate with. The other concern with it is in Peterborough's interest to drag it out a little bit and get as many clubs involved in the bidding process as possible, because they want to drive the price up and get as much as they can for someone who's out of contract in the summer. If he doesn't want to leave Peterborough now or like mid-season, that is also a stumbling block. I don't think that's impossible to get around, because it's obviously, if he's going to leave in the summer anyway, he kind of add some more wages and stuff. But I do think he's the right profile of player that we should be looking for. Young, pacey, skillful, scores goals, ticks a lot of boxes. If we can pull it off, I think it's a tremendous signing, and I'll be very, very happy. I did a video on him and Poku probably about 10 months ago, where I discussed their qualities and why they'd be great for Cardiff. Incidentally, Poku's out of contract as well in the summer. Now, he is a player. He's their top scorer, a winger. Again, young, pacey, skillful. Is that someone maybe you can't get him now in January? I'd be very surprised if they let him go in January. maybe they're hoping he signs a new contract, stuff like that. I don't know. But also, we should have a retro watch along for members as well. Hoping to have a special guest who featured in the game on it as well. But if not, it'll be me and one of the boys. But I'm hoping that I can arrange to get a guest for the retro watch along. I think the retro watch along will be like, we'll record it and then edit it down to a slightly shorter version, I think. Or we might do it live and just do, like, I don't know, extended highlights. But the idea being that we get someone who played in the game or who was around the squad at that time as the guest, and we kind of talk about everything which was going on, because a lot of the games, we've all seen before. So, for instance, maybe you got the Millennium Stadium against QPR. You can talk to the squad members about that. You can talk to like what it was like to be in the squad. Talks about what they were up to at that time, in that time, what the music was, what the clothes were, all this different stuff. Just something different that we wanted to do for members, and I'm really looking forward to it because I think the first one's going to be a belter. But anyway, back we go. Enough plugs. Yeah, Raheem Conte is an interesting one because I really didn't want him to go out on loan. But I do wonder, so in the summer, I think everyone, if I'm being honest, and this is only an opinion, it's not based on anything else. If I'm honest, I think Perry NG thought he was leaving. And I think the club thought he was leaving, the fans thought he was leaving, he thought he was leaving. And I think that they thought we'd get someone else in with those funds, and then Raheem Conte maybe is the backup or the squad player. And then either no bids come in or the move doesn't happen for Perry NG, he stays. We rush him back for pre-season. It all feels a bit hectic and a bit rushed. Like I said, by the seat of our pants, as always. And then maybe we didn't need to have Raheem Conte as a backup so much. And we send him out on loan. But my argument is that Raheem Conte can play as a wing-back, a full-back, a centre midfielder, or a winger. He's very good on the ball, very composed. But defensively, he's really switched on. That was what caught my eye last year. Apart from his composure and his ball-playing abilities, which obviously shone through, it was his defensive work. There was a particular instance where he was playing right-back and the left wingers run right across behind the centre-backs. And, for a young full-back, that's so easy to just switch off because he's gone out of your area. You're so used to keeping his shape and stuff. And he follows his man all the way across, gets his body across the ball, gets hold of the ball, plays a nice little ball into midfield. And that was what impressed me. So I didn't really see the need to send him out on loan because I felt like he was a good squad player. But I'm not sure what the rules are because Martin makes a good point there. Conte's played for us and he's played for Woking this season. Does that mean he can't go out on loan again? I'm not sure what the rule is. Can you play for 3 clubs? Is it the maximum or is it 2? I have to check that. But I would be pretty happy. I'm happy if he's part of the squad. I think he can be a good option. On the substitutes, I thought Darland and Fish as a partnership looked really good against Sheffield United. And I know Sheffield United were very poor, but they still had to defend. You can only defend against what you've got. And they had a couple of sharp forwards who generally and normally pretty good up against them. So maybe they deserve a bit of credit. And, maybe they deserve that credit to say, no, actually, they defended well. And that's why Sheffield United didn't do anything up front. But I thought as a partnership, I thought they really complemented each other well. I thought they were both tidy on the ball, very good defensively, positionally. When one went and attacked the press, the other covered. Communication was good. Impressive. And I was just glad to see that Will Fish was actually a real person. But glad he got some playing time, and I thought he did well. I thought Joel Bagan was excellent in the FA Cup. I know Kean Ashford will rightly take all the plaudits. Tremendous goal, tremendous game. But I thought there was a few players who were particularly good. Darland and Fish, I thought, I said at the start of the season, that's probably our centre-back pairing going forward in the future. So that was encouraging to see them have a good game together straight away. I thought Joel Bagan, again, was excellent, like I say. I thought Ruben had a really good game against Sheffield United as well. Keane Ashford was excellent. Atete, still, and it's only my opinion, some people might disagree, I'm just not sold on him yet. I was having a conversation with someone in the game, and I just feel like he doesn't anticipate, and he spends so much time on his backside. But the person I was speaking to was saying, no, he can be the alternative to Robinson and give us a bit of pace if we don't bring someone in. But it'll be interesting. So Martin says there, if Gutas was to go in the summer, they'll be vital for us next year. I agree with that, mate. But you know what? I would give Gutas a year with an option for another year. But I would kind of speak to him and make sure that he understands his role is to help bring through Fish, Darland, and Dylan Lawler, like 3 young centre-backs, and him being the really experienced head in there who can help him settle and get used to the kind of trials and tribulations of Championship football week in, week out. And I think he's a good option. I know, incidentally, earlier in the season, when in the EFL Cup, when we played all the kids, he played alongside all the kids, and he did a really good job of talking to them and helping them. So, yeah, that's an interesting one. Let me think who else played. I thought Joe Rawls had a good game. Again, for me, Joe Rawls isn't a starter anymore, but I think he can still contribute. There's obviously a conversation to be had in the summer due to his wages, and he's not the only one. Can you match up like his wages and how many games he misses through fitness? Like, it's difficult, isn't it? Like, if he's going to have a big wage, but he's not fit a lot of the time, and then you add in that he's probably not starting week in, week out, is it financially viable? Is it cheaper to... So I think in the video I made the other day, I made the suggestion with Ramsey that maybe you give Ramsey like a pay-as-you-play deal on the playing side, and you give him a coach's contract on the other side. And you that's how you make his money up a little bit. Maybe you could do something similar with Joe Rawls, where you get paid handsomely if you play, but if you don't, you have like a real low basic wage. But then you have a coach's wage to kind of try and rectify that. Because I think off the field, Joe Rawls has got a tremendous amount to offer, and I still think he can offer certain things off the bench and start in for certain games. I think, I'm not saying he's finished by any means, but I'm saying come the end of the season, there's a decision that's got to be made. And one of the things will be his wages, his fitness versus availability, where he is in the squad, where we want to go going forward as well. We've got such an influx of young talent. We really need to start getting them playing first team football. Some of them playing regularly, some of them dripping in and out. But we need to get them ready and build the football club around these academy players who are starting to shine. So it's definitely going to be interesting. And I think, with the greatest respect, I think Callum Robinson falls into a similar thing as Joe Rawls. Like, Callum Robinson's our top scorer. And when he's fit and motivated and firing, he's a no-brainer to keep. But he's on a massive wage, and he does miss games. And the club, whoever makes the decisions, I'm sure it'll be our director of football, will talk to the manager, talk to the coaches, talk to the hierarchy, and they'll make a decision. But I'm sure one of the things they'll weigh up is availability and wages versus squad position and stuff like that. But as a player, just purely as a footballer, Callum Robinson is someone who I think we should keep, because I think we look a better team with him in it. And I like his attitude. I think the way he's turned it around with his mentality and his attitude, I think that just shows an incredible amount of mental strength to be able to do that, because you don't see many managers do that. You don't see many players do that, where they their mentality drops maybe a little bit. They fall out with a manager. Their attitude is questioned a little bit. You don't see many players able to turn it around after that, and he has in absolute really done it well. So again, that's great. we have to make decisions. Like Martin again, he says we've got too many players with a poor injury history, and this is what we got to be ruthless in the summer. We have to be ruthless in the summer. What's the point in having this great academy, which is bringing through all these players, if we don't start to build around them? Yes, you need experience in with them. Yes, you're going to bring in a couple of signings, like a Ricky J. Jones, who's 21, 22, who's ready. Of course, I understand that. But like, we can't just re-sign all those 13 players, because I don't think we're just going to be in the same position as we are season after season. Someone's got to make these tough decisions. I would rather that the person who makes those decisions, or at least part of the kind of group of people who makes those decisions on the contract, is someone who's got a real strong football knowledge, not just looking at the financial side of it. But I guess we'll see, innit? We'll see. Let's have a look at some of these comments. Jonathan says, only 2 clubs a season, that's why we can't recall Eli King. Right, so Raheem Conte is either going to be involved in the first team or playing under 21s football. But that's interesting, because I quite like the thought of him being in the squad. I think he gives something. I think he adds something as well. Evan says, welcome to Cardiff. Nothing makes sense. We are the most unambitious club. We hate playing anyone under 23. We don't want to appoint anyone with football knowledge. And this is the impression I get. I mean, it's difficult to argue with any of that, mate, if I'm being honest. It really is. Andrew says, the Wintle situation has gone quiet. Any news on him coming back? I haven't heard anything for a couple of weeks about that. I heard that he wanted to come back, but I haven't heard anything since to, say whether he is or he isn't, whatever. Paul says, what's good with a lot of these younger players we have is how versatile they are, and they can play in many positions and they wouldn't look out of place. Yep. And that's something that I think the academy deserves a tremendous amount of credit. And I think that has been a big part of Joel Bagan's improvement this year. So in the 23s or 21s, Martin, sorry, mate, in the 21s, they will play players in different positions. So like Louis Giles and Tom Davis, for instance, have both played, obviously left back is their position, or full back, but they played as part of a 3 at the back. I think they played as part of a 2, so that they get that experience in different positions. And I think Joel Bagan in midfield has been a bit of a find, I think. Like, he's played it a couple of times, only in small bits, but I think he could be I quite like him. Good passer, aggressive, presses. I like it. He reminds me of a younger Joe Rose, if I'm honest. I'm not saying he's as good or anything like that. He just reminds me of him. Jonathan says, I think Alex Neil wanted to take a look at Ryan Wintle before trying to send him back, but Wintle wants to return. Martin says, the division we're in will determine our budget. Is Gutas worth the expense? I mean, I guess Callum Chambers could play a similar role with the young centre-backs, but I think Gutas' performances probably should come into that as well. But we've got such a poor injury record, and our wages are so high. We've got to do something about it. We have to. And there's going to be some difficult emotional decisions being made in that summer, because I think some of those players maybe deserve a contract and won't get one. Some of those players we'd like to give some sort of contract to, and maybe they don't get one. But it's part and part of the game. I believe Callum Robinson's on, I don't know this as fact, but over 20 grand a week, I believe, is what someone was saying. But obviously, I have no idea what. But that was the kind of the rumor was about 20ish grand. Joe Rawls sort of 12 to 15. But our money, if you look at the wage budget for the league, I think we're 5th in terms of that, wages that we pay out. So that's obviously got to change. Paul says, with no signings, are they waiting to pull the plug on Rhys first? I don't think he's having a lot of input on the signings anyway, mate, in terms of who we sign. Jonathan says, Callum Robinson, Joe Rawls are 2 of the top club's top owners. They both take home a very handsome wage. Yeah, big money. Big money. most of the Sunderland squad are made up of youngsters. Yeah, we should be next in the summer. We should be building around the youngsters with 1 or 2 experienced players, and bringing in players with a similar profile to Ricky J. Jones and people like that. In my opinion, some people might disagree. Alex says, "Si, what's your score prediction for the Watford and Swansea game?" I think we'll beat Watford 2-1, and I think we'll beat Swansea 10-0. No, I think we'll beat Swansea 1-0, and I think we'll beat Watford 2-1. I do feel like we're in a bit of good form at the moment, so I'm semi-confident that we might be able to take 6 points from those 2 games. Unfortunately, we rarely turn up against Swansea, so yeah, hopefully it's like last year's home game where we really turn up, not just in terms of passion and attitude and stuff, but also in application and quality that was there in that game. It was a real good performance last year at home. But then you know, so many times when we play Swansea, it's that like it's more like the away game where everyone just looks scared and we don't want the ball, and the quality's poor, the passion's poor. We're just so used to seeing it, unfortunately. But I'm semi-confident. Jamie says, "Is Rhys being used this season? It looks that way. Do the board think he's the man, or is he a sitting duck?" So I do a poll one day. Yeah, Jamie, mate, I said when he was appointed that I felt like they were setting him up to fail and he was the scapegoat. And I haven't changed my opinion on that, especially hearing that he's not having a lot of input on transfers, and also hearing that we're still at least looking into other managers. Kind of feels that way, but I do get frustrated. John Watkins says, "If we do go down, championship clubs are going to be looking seriously at our young players. If he does well at Exeter, we never see Joe Colwill if we go down." Yeah, you'd like to think not, but surely if we go down, even more so, we'd focus on using the young players and ridding some of the high earners to try and balance the books. But also in League One, FFP or PSR is almost non-existent. See Birmingham City's spending. So who knows? All I know, or all I think, is that if we go down, it'll be absolutely disastrous long term for the football club. Andrew says, "I don't think we'll sign anyone." I don't think we'll sign anyone. Well, that's a lie. I think there's a slim chance that we sign Ricky J. Jones in January for some money. It's slim because I don't think he will come, but he's the one who I think we might spend money on. Other than that, I think all we can hope for is loans. It is what it is. You've got an interim manager. We haven't got very good finances. Owner doesn't seem massively interested. It doesn't exactly line you up thinking spending spree's coming, does it? However, like I said at the start of the show, if we were able to get Ricky J. Jones over the line and sign him permanently, I do think that's good business. He's one for the future. He's one for now. Like the fastest guy in the EFL, you know. He ticks the boxes, you know. Alex says, "The board must do something. If we don't have a signing by the Swansea game, I'm going to go ballistic." It's frustrating, mate, isn't it? It is really frustrating, especially because a couple of days ago it seemed like they were really close to getting someone in. Jonathan says, "I prefer younger transfers. It brings a resale value, and if they work out with which is another route of financial security, our deals for late 20s and early 30s are baffling to me." Yeah, mate, we're notoriously bad at selling. Even our academy superstars that we've sold previously back in the day, we still probably didn't sell them at the price that they should have gone for. And he just snatched the money after me, and we just too easy to negotiate with. Probably because of financial issues that were going on at the time, you know. Jamie says, "If we go down, surely we can afford to keep the younger players." You'd like to think so, but then do you trust this club to not sell their best players? Like, it kind of feels like if we went down, the first thing they do is sell Ruben Colwill and then sell Joel, and I wouldn't trust them. But there we go. Andrew says, anything less than 4 points from the next 2 games is looking grim. Yeah, I'm trying to be positive, and like I said, I'm semi excited that, or not semi excited, semi confident that we might get 6 points from the next 2. Semi. But then I was confident going into the season, in fairness. Obviously, didn't realise Kanga was going to be such a dud. The FA Cup third round also slows down the loan deals. So now that that's out of the way, there's more chance, I think, of moving them on. Like Jayden Danns is going to go somewhere. He scored yesterday for Liverpool. But he'll go on loan somewhere. It's just whether he comes to us is the thing, I guess. He's a decent player, though. Quite like him. Graham says, you'd think Tan having 2 teams in a relegation fight would bring people in. Yeah, it's frustrating, mate. Jeff says they're changing the FFP in League One next season because of Birmingham and Wrexham, so it's going to be a lot tighter. Yeah, but I think it's still not going to be the same as what it is higher up, is it? I accept what you're saying, like they're going to change it, and I'm not surprised because both of those clubs have spent a fortune for that level. But I mean, Birmingham spent a fortune for championship level, in fairness. But yeah, it is what it is. Alex sort of says what I just said. Deals should start happening now. The FA Cup third round is done. Jayden Danns, Mwamba. Yeah. Easy for me to say. Abwoe looked like one that might be possible, but I think he's being used in a part exchange deal now elsewhere. So I don't know if he's still on the radar. I thought he might be the one who was coming in, but yeah, doesn't seem to be the case. John says, could we perhaps offer a Matty or a Tete to Peterborough as a part exchange? They may go for that. Yeah, I said that the other day, funny enough. I said you could even offer like Matty as a straight swap or like a swap with a bit of cash and then offer to give him a Tete on loan for the season as well. See if that would sweeten the pot. But I think historically for all clubs, these like swap deals and sort of part exchange deals, they don't happen too often. But I would be doing, I got to be honest, I'd be doing all I could to get Ricky J. Jones, because I think you got to act quickly to get him, because I know Borough have been linked with him, but as far as I heard from someone at Peterborough on Friday that Middlesbrough hadn't put a bid in or anything. They just sort of asked about his availability. So we need to act fast. And in fairness, in the summer, with pretty much all our transfers, we did act fast. We got them done quick. So credit where it's due. We did move a lot quicker with our transfers in the summer. So we're just going to we'll have to wait and see. I know they're trying. We are trying to get some loans in, trying to get Ricky J. Jones. Whether it comes off is another thing. As I said numerous times, I personally don't think we'll be able to pull off Ricky J. Jones, but maybe, who knows? Actually, as much as I think Ricky J. Jones would be a great signing, the midfielder they've got, I think he's a Cypriot lad, is someone who I'd really, really like. And I'm not sure if he's out of contract as well, but he's someone I'd really, really like. He's technically excellent, really combative, energetic, mid to early 20s, like exactly what we need to build around, and that kind of profile of players who are going to get better. And either they do well for you and you do well as a team, or they stand out, but your team doesn't do too well and you sell them for a big profit. Like more and more than ever now, Premier League clubs are taking that, paying big money for like young championship players who have shone. So it's a no-brainer to start trying to pick up these sort of 20, 21-year-olds who've done well and then get them in and get what you can out of them. Like I'm on record as saying I don't think Alex Robertson will be with Cardiff for a very long time because of how good he is and his age. So let's just enjoy him while he's a Cardiff player, sort of thing. Evan James says, I'm guessing the deal that almost went ahead was for us to take Mbappe on loan until the end of the season. What a shame. Yeah, no, we were signing him on a permanent, mate. Without a shadow of a doubt. I seen it. Saw it somewhere. Paul says we put a bid in for a Polish midfielder, 3 million. If that's true, the player wants. Yeah, he basically laughed it off, mate. Was what I read. But he wants to play at a higher level. But there's two ways to look at that. Is one, why are you putting a bid in for someone who you don't know, at least is interested in speaking to you, and two, should you set your sights on a bit realistic targets? And then on the positive side of it is well, at least we're looking at real quality. We're not, players who will genuinely improve the first team. So, there's two ways to look at everything. Alex says Jayden Danns is a big no because of the way he's playing at Liverpool. They'll not sell him. Never mind loan him out. Yeah, they're loaning. I believe the plan is for him to go out on loan, mate. He didn't play, in the first team, so not in the league and stuff. So I think they want him to get some regular football. Now, we're not the only club interested, as you'd expect. I believe it's Plymouth and maybe Stoke. I can't remember the third club, but it'll be what it be. And this is where you need a director of football or a manager with contacts or people who can get those deals over the line quick. Rhys Lasky says Louis Barry would be better than Jones, and he was recalled by his parents' club from League One with the intention to sell him. He's now been linked with Millwall. I think we should put a bid in for him, 15 goals. I really, really like Louis Barry, mate. But I don't think you get him on a permanent deal. The reason I think Jay Jones is such a good signing, if we were able to get it over the line, is because it's a permanent deal, his age, his scoring record, his pace, etc. But I 100% agree with you. Louis Barry would be a wicked signing, but we always seem to be too slow. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Leeds looking to loan out Charlie Crew. Snap your hands off for that. But would we play him? That's the thing, right? We seem to have this aversion to playing young players. He'd be great, wouldn't he, in midfield? Quality player. There we go. Let's have a look. Jamie says if Tam brought in football people to help out but no signings, would that be a positive? I think long term, bringing in someone with football knowledge to help with taking the club forward, making footballing decisions, contracts, trade signing. Of course, that is a positive. But I think no signings in January would be one of the biggest risks the club has ever taken. I've got to be honest, because I think every man and their dog can see that we need a striker. Now, the only way that I can see that we don't get a striker in is if we're putting all our eggs in the basket of Callum Robinson's going to stay fit, and Isaac Davis and Atete are going to score goals when they get back fit. And that's the only way the only thing I can think that they're thinking. Doesn't make sense to me. Guys, I'm really sorry. I'm going to have to blow up 10 minutes early because I feel like I'm going to throw up. I apologise. I'll do an extra show of some sort tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. Cardiff City phone in tomorrow as well. I'm really sorry, guys. Take it easy. Cheers.